I told all of you, my boy Tokoyami is hype. One of my favorites, and I'm just gonna say right now, I told you, anime onlys, isn't he freaking awesome? His Dark Shadow, which is basically like a stand from JoJo, to how his ability increases or decreases because of night and day, and also just the way he secured those points at the end of the episode. Just some solid work from my boy Tokoyami, and people underestimating him and not really knowing how good this man is. Just like, oh my god, like, just seeing my boy Tokoyami, seeing my boy just doing that clutch. That man with that mad clutch, coming in, snatching that headband and all that, getting them points, getting them in 4th place, even though they're not in 1st or 2nd or even 3rd, the point still stands as they managed to not get eliminated, and they moved on to the next round. Just good man Tokoyami for saving the day. And he does admit, and he's very humble about it, he says, if it wasn't for you making an opening, Izuku, I couldn't have grabbed this headband, which he admits that, but still, my boy Tokoyami using that little bit of time to grab a headband is very impressive, and just some good shit that he did. So well done, Tokoyami. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you, my boy. So let's talk about one of the big themes of this episode, and that is underestimating your opponent, or being forced to do things that normally you don't want to do. So let's look at it like this. We have it to where Monoma. Monoma is the guy that had the quirk ability that can copy other abilities. That's what was revealed in this episode. And Monoma, a very impressive quirk ability. Like, that quirk is pretty damn powerful when you really take a moment to think about it. Like, that can be an incredible quirk to do some really crazy stuff, but he ended up in Class B, which is just, like, very surprising and shocking, so he had to do really bad kind of on his test when you think about it. But regardless, though, Monoma, he was underestimating Bakugo. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? Class B, obviously, they were holding back in the 1st round because they wanted to not reveal their quirks. They wanted to see what Class A is capable of, then they can, hit them from the side and then take them out. And so the reason why Class A was getting wrecked in round 2 was because they underestimated Class B. But here's the thing, Class B also underestimated Class A. See, they may have had an advantage. They may have not revealed their quirks, so they may have kept things secret and just acted like they weren't that good or impressive, but then they came out and started, destroying Class A. But they underestimated some of the people in Class A, which Bakugo is a perfect example. We know from many examples we saw from the 1st season already in this season, Bakugo seems like he's hot-headed. It seems like he's angry, like default emotion, complete angry. Like, this man, he does not think. He just goes in, just starts punching things, just yells. That seems like the type of character he is. But because of what we saw in the 1st season and in him fighting Izuku, we know he is not someone that just goes in with pure aggression. He does think. He has a very, very, very sharp mind, and you should never underestimate him. Even though it looks like he's driven by emotion, which in some cases he is, he still thinks. He doesn't do dumb things overall. So because of that, we know that that's where Class B went wrong. Monoma underestimated Bakugo. He was rallying someone up that was already angry to begin with, someone that automatically wants to be number 1, and he decided to just make this man riled up to where he was like, you know what, I'm coming after you and I'm taking you down. And he underestimated Bakugo because he didn't realize how determined he was to get in 1st place. Even if Bakugo gets shoved back down, even if this man gets pushed to 4th place, he's going to fight to get back up to 1st place. This man is not dropping over and falling down. He is going to continue to push for that number 1 spot, and that is where he went wrong. That is where Monoma fucked up. So that kind of shows that you should never underestimate your opponent, regardless of the power and the strength difference. Never underestimate your opponent like everything is going according to plan, like everything is already decided. You should always continue to put 100% into whatever you're doing, which shows what Monoma did wrong. He didn't use 100% of his attention to focus on everything around him. He already thought he pretty much basically won. So yeah, that's kind of an example I want to bring up, which correlates with the later editions of the series, but also this episode too. Let's look at the hero rankings, okay? I've already brought it up quite a few times now, like, you know, what the main point of this round was. For instance, someone that's in the number 1 spot, always trying to fight for that number 1 spot, retain that spot, but also how you need to always not underestimate people around you or any villain you constantly face. Even if it's someone that looks very weak and someone that can't really fight back, never underestimate that individual villain or, you know, hero or whatever. Don't underestimate them, and that is kind of what I was trying to say about the actual real pro hero rankings. See, All Might, as we know, is a number 1, Endeavor is a number 2, and we know about the money system, how there's different companies and stuff trying to recruit people, to how they're wanting to get their business out, how sometimes they have to work together. This has been one of the big factors of this tournament. It's not just about fighting or showing off our characters from the different classes, it's also giving us world building. It's letting us know how the world of Boku no Hero Academia works, and this is kind of what it's showing here. We know that with All Might being number 1, obviously Endeavor is second place, and there has to be heroes very similar to Bakugo or Todoroki. We know Todoroki, he is someone that is the son of Endeavor, and we know he doesn't want to use his other side, which is apparently his fire side. We see in this episode, he was forced to use his flames because he was just pushed into a corner, and he accidentally used his quirk ability, which Izuku forced him to use, which caused the conversation towards the end. But here's the big point here. Underestimating your opponent and not going full in can result in something very bad happening. For instance, a villain getting away, killing someone, capturing someone, whatever, causing a lot of injuries to someone. When you underestimate a certain opponent, it could cause problems. And that is what's happening here. For instance, with Todoroki not wanting to use his other side, even though it is very personal to him and there's a lot of reason for it, the point stands is that him not using that could put people's lives in danger for his own petty pride, for his own personal reasons. He's putting other people in danger. If you want to be a hero, you need to kind of throw that away, and you need to be for the people. And that's showing the examples of how Todoroki is as a hero, but also how other heroes are in general as well, and also how they're constantly trying to retain their spot in the rankings or whatever throughout society of Boku no Hero Academia, which explains, you know, All Might's position, but also Endeavor's position as well. Now, besides that, let's look at the correlation real quick here towards the end of the episode. All Might, Endeavor are having like a conversation. They're both having a conversation towards the end, and they seem to be old pals. Obviously, they should know each other because number 1 spot, second spot. But also, Todoroki and Izuku are having a combo at the end of the episode as well, at the exact same time. And I can't be the only one that sees that correlation, that, you know, you have it to where Izuku, he is, you know, the successor of All Might, talking to Todoroki, which is, in a way, he's the successor of Endeavor. He's, you know, Endeavor's son. So because of that, we know that it's very interesting to see these characters just have that much of a correlation with each other. And it makes you wonder what type of relationship will they have in the future with each other because of their, you know, senpais, people that have raised them or made them who they are to this day. It makes you wonder how will they interact from this point onward, which also explains why Todoroki is acting like he does throughout, you know, the series of Season 1 and Season 2. So, let's actually talk about the flame side of Todoroki. So Todoroki, we know that he has a fire side to him. He doesn't want to use it. And we know that there's some stuff building up through the recent episodes with his father. He doesn't want to use it, and he just wants to use his ice side. And I've already kind of talked about the morals of that, because if he wants to be a hero, he needs to use that side, because he can't just be petty and all that and just use one side when he has the abilities to do more things. And so there's something going on here. There's something really deep down that's bugging Todoroki, and that's going to eventually lead most likely to some characterization / development for him, but we'll just have to see where that goes in the future episodes. So yeah, gotta admit that this episode of Boku no Hero Academia did a solid job with setting up things for the future, kind of displaying the world building properly and making it understandable. And in all honesty, I feel like the way the world building was displayed, it's more understandable than the actual manga. Now, don't get me wrong, Horikoshi does some tremendous work with his manga series and world building, but I gotta admit, the way Studio Bones is going in with this series, adding these anime original scenes, to adding in these, like, interactions that just have more emphasis on some of the things that happen in the future of the series, I do appreciate that hard work that they're putting into this series, so just job well done, Studio Bones. So, yeah, tell me your thoughts. How do you feel about this episode? How do you feel about what was going on with, Izuku and how he had to fight for his spot and all that, and how he lost his headband? How do you feel about, the certain characters that were eliminated? How do you feel about, Shinzo that was shown to, once again, make it into the rankings and survive to the next round? Has a very mysterious atmosphere about him, and I'm talking about the purple-haired character, FYI, because I know many might not know the character's name. Shinzo, the purple-haired dude that apparently won and is making it into the next round. I'm curious what all of you are going to think about, or how you're going to feel about him in the future episodes, because I remember when I was reading the manga, and I saw his character, I was very curious about him. I was interested to see what type of ability he has, because for him to be able to make it through all these rounds, there's something going on here that is very shady, or something like, whoa, what type of quirk ability is he using? And if you think about it, we haven't really seen his quirk ability. You really haven't seen it at all. So what is he using to win is the question. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.